For years, the way that you did local search, you did SEO, was you focused on keywords. You do keyword stuffing, you would focus on keyword density, and essentially you would do that centered around the question that's being asked. Now, this is an important distinction because nowadays this isn't what you do anymore. What you do now, instead of focusing on keywords, you're focusing on authority. And instead of focusing on the question, you're actually focusing on the answer. And that subtle difference makes a difference between whether you show up in local search and AI search or whether you don't. And we're going to talk about that on this episode of the Rocket Chiro podcast. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Jerry. I'm a former chiropractor. I help chiropractors with local search and with websites. If you'd like me to take a look at your website and SEO, give you some recommendations completely free of charge, you can request a website and SEO review. I'll look at your stuff, send you a custom video, give you some recommendations, and if we can work together, great. If not, no big deal. It's no pressure, no obligation. It's something that I offer to anyone who listens to the podcast. You're welcome to go do that. If you want to go beyond the podcast, you want some additional help with getting started, understanding business and marketing, check out my Next Step program. It's a great way to do that. It's really great for chiropractors who are getting started. Chiropractic college doesn't teach you how to run a business. It doesn't teach you how to just do any of those business and marketing things that is required if you want to be a successful chiropractor. So you get that additional information at rocketchiro.com in the Next Step program. It's also good for chiropractors if you've been out for a little while and you're still feeling stuck or just feeling a little overwhelmed with the business side of things. Like Next Step is really great. It's designed for you and to help you with that. So that's a great resource. All that can be found at rocketchiro.com. So what we're going to talk about today, there is just a shift that's happened over the last, 4 or 5 years, especially with AI and everything else, is that what is showing up in searches has a lot to do with authority, and much more so than it used to. And the three categories you have to think about when you're thinking about local search is relevance, proximity, and prominence. Now, relevance and proximity are sort of basic SEO things. And what I mean by relevance is that if you want to show up for chiropractor searches, you have to be a chiropractor. You can't be a dentist hoping to show up for chiropractor searches. That doesn't make any sense. So that's pretty straightforward. You just have to make sure that you're communicating to Google and AI that you are a chiropractor. Also, there's the proximity. If you want people around you to know that you're a chiropractor in the area, you have to do a good job of establishing that you're a chiropractor in the area. Now, Google knows where you're at, so that's good, but there are better ways to make sure that you're establishing that you are, in fact, a legitimate business in that area. And some new businesses don't do a very good job of this. I've actually seen some chiropractic websites that are by very prominent chiropractic website builders as far as volume goes that have not done a very good job of this. It's sort of a bizarre thing because it is very basic, but the two basic parts of this three-part kind of recipe is relevance. You got to be a chiropractor. If you want to rank well for Gonstead, you have to do Gonstead. If you want to rank well for upper cervical, you got to be upper cervical. If you want to rank well for pediatric chiropractic, you need to see kids. So there's that. Proximity is you need to be close. And close is a relative term. If you're in the middle of nowhere in Kansas, close might be 20 miles. If you're in the middle of New York City, close might be 10 blocks. Like it condenses the more dense the people are and the more chiropractors there are around you, what proximity means. But you definitely want Google to know where you are so that the people around you know that you're there as well. The hardest part of the equation is actually prominence. It's Google and AI are going to refer to the people that are the biggest deal. The Ron Burgundys, right? It's like, I don't know if you know this or not, but I'm kind of a big deal. And a simple way of thinking about it is that if you were looking for something like chicken wings and there's a gas station in your town that happens to sell chicken wings or sushi, gas station sushi, right? But let's stick with chicken wings. So they happen to sell chicken wings, or there's like 3 or 4 places in your town that they are known for chicken wings. Or if there's a couple places in your town that only do chicken wings, who do you think is going to rank well? Even if that gas station has chicken wings all over one of the pages on their website, it's like chicken wings, chicken wings, chicken wings, chicken wings, chicken wings near me, chicken wings near me. It has all of these words on there. But it's like a secondary thing. Like nobody goes there for the chicken wings. They just happen to sell chicken wings. And it's sort of like that when you think about chiropractic, is that if For instance, if you want to rank well for like headaches or spinal decompression or pediatric chiropractic or pregnancy chiropractic or whatever these things happen to be, even chiropractor, you kind of need to be an expert on the subject. Having a really thin website that mentions these things once or sometimes never is like a terrible starting point for authority. That only works. The only way that you can get away with that on a website is if you are in fact a big deal. So for example, if, I don't know, Michael Jordan decided to have, I use him as an example all the time. I don't know. I was a Bulls guy in the 90s. So if Michael Jordan decided to start a basketball camp, I think he has a camp, but let's say he's going to start a basketball camp. His website doesn't actually need to have a ton of depth to it. He could probably have like 1 or 2 pages and it's going to be just fine because he's already a big deal. Everybody knows who he is. He doesn't need the website to carry the weight. And I talked about this on the podcast recently where I was just talking about the difference between what a website's purpose is. But most chiropractors don't have that sort of authority. Like it's not like they're going around doing speaking and they have, 1 million followers on YouTube and 1 million followers on Instagram and, 2.5 million followers on TikTok. And they're already famous off of their website. They already have a lot of heat and attention off of their website. Like most of the time, that's not what chiropractors are doing. Most of the time, chiropractors are trying to establish their authority when they're trying to build their more people coming from local search. And when trying to build your authority, a lot of that is anchored in your website. So mentioning something on your website one time isn't going to do it. If you want to be the headache doctor in your area, mentioning it one time on a services page is kind of like the gas station that happens to sell chicken wings. But if you created a page that's very robust about headaches, different types of headaches, different things, and then you had 5, 10, 15, 20, 30 different blogs about how to deal with headaches and what works, what doesn't work, and the different types of headaches and all of this stuff, now you're building yourself out as an authority. The more people you help with headaches, the more likely you're going to get headaches mentioned in reviews. Now you have outside signals that are mentioning. Maybe you guest blogged on somebody else's website and you talked about headaches? Have you been on somebody else's podcast and talked about headaches? Have you been interviewed on the news and talked about headaches? The more of this stuff you do, and some of it is on your website and some of it is off your website, but what you're doing is becoming an expert on this subject. And when Google and AI recognize that there's an expert on a particular subject in a particular area, that person's always going to outrank the person who's keyword stuffing. And I get that there's keywords within the context of authority, but the intention is very different. What you're trying to do when you're building authority is you're focusing on the answer. I'm the answer to the question is like, who is going to help me with my headaches? I'm the answer. That's what you're building out the content for. And the same thing would be true for even general chiropractor terms. When someone's searching for a chiropractor near them, they're not actually just saying who's the closest chiropractor in most cases. I mean, unless you're just stuck walking, like the only option is like, hey, who's close? But that's not really what they're asking most of the time. What they're really asking is who's the best chiropractor near me? And now we're back to authority. How is Google and AI going to know that you're the best chiropractor? How are they going to know that? This is why reviews matter. And we can, some people don't like reviews. Some people don't take them seriously. But if you think about it from Google and AI standpoint, they can't interview your clients. They can't interview your patients. They can't go around the community and proactively ask like, hey, who do you recommend? It's always funny when you're in these like Facebook groups and like somebody will be like, hey, who knows a chiropractor? And like, that's a stupid, pointless question to ask in a Facebook group. And the reason is because everybody just recommends their chiropractor and they're always the best. Always the best. And maybe it's dumb. Maybe it's dumb like AI and Google are like a different version of the exact same thing. But Google and AI are looking around and trying to figure out like, what are people saying through reviews? What are people saying on Reddit? What are people saying in forums? What are people saying what are they saying on their website? What are they saying when they're off of their website? What are they involved in? What are they doing? Have they written books? Have they done speaking? Have they done this? Have they done that? Like, who's the biggest deal in the area? This is why I said like weeks ago when I talked about the rich getting richer with local search, that's the case. And the reason is because the people who already have momentum, they have a lot of reviews, they have established reputation, Google knows that they're a chiropractor. They know that they're in the St. Louis area or the Chicago area, whatever it is. They know that they're there. And now they have a bunch of reviews, and now they have a bunch of content. They have a bunch of blogs. They have a bunch of stuff that they built over time. If they've done it right, this person has already established themselves as an authority. And then you're coming in with none of that, hoping to overtake them. It's a daunting task. It's a very daunting task. And so I say all that just to say that if you are doing your own website and you're focusing on keywords and not authority, you're making a mistake. And if you're working with a website company that doesn't understand this and doesn't give you a foundation to build on, that's a problem. Because there are still tons of companies out there that are just keyword stuffing, and they're not building you a solid foundation on which you can build your authority. And that's a mistake, because this has changed. And everybody's like, Google's dead and this is that. Everybody's always using, I'm not telling you scare tactics. I'm not telling you stuff to freak you out. As far as I can tell, Google and AI are going to be around for a very long time. But if you don't align what you're putting out with what they're looking for, you can't expect to ever get patients from Google search or from AI search or anything like that. Now, there's a all different layer to this as far as like communicating to Google and AI the way that they want to be communicated to and blah, blah, blah. Like there's more technical stuff, but philosophically, that's the thing that you have to understand is how do you build an authority? How do you build yourself as an authority? And what I would recommend to you, the starting point for this as a chiropractor isn't like evaluating whether you should get a different website company or anything like that. The starting point is you looking at your practice and saying, where do I want to be an authority? And don't pick 20 things. Pick like 2, 3, 4, maybe. Like, what are the things that you want to be known for? Because you're far better off. Now, don't pick obscure stuff that nobody's looking for. Don't be the expert in like some weird thing that nobody cares about. But what are the most high value things in your area? For some, it's decompression. For some, it's your technique. For some, it's, headaches. We've talked about headaches. What is the thing you want to be an expert on? And then spend your time on social media, in your blog, on your website content, as you're going out into the community and other stuff. Like, spend your time focused on building your authority on those 2 or 3 subjects. That's going to be your best bet going forward. And if you do it the other way, where you're now like, oh, I'm just going to try to figure out how to match the question, or I'm going to figure out I'm going to just get a bunch of keywords in here. You're playing an old game that nobody's playing anymore. I mean, you might be playing it, but the people in charge aren't playing it. And that's a problem, because there's a disconnect. And that's never helpful. All right, guys, that's it. I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. Thank you for listening. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for sharing. If you know a chiropractor that doesn't listen, I'd appreciate you sharing this with them, either personally or just sharing it on your social. If you want to leave a review, you can do it on Apple Podcasts. You can do it on Google. There's a link in the footer of rocketchiro.com. If you want to work together, go to Rocket Chiro, request a website SEO review, or just reach out to me directly. I'm done. I'm out of here. I'll talk to you guys on the next episode. See ya.